Hello, and welcome to another episode of Peculiar Endeavors podcast. This is me, Emily, and I am your host. I wasn't really sure which topic to choose, but then I thought it must be quite interesting, maybe, to listen to how it is to work on a makeup counter in London because it is pretty wild. But it was a while ago now, so I'm not sure how much I remember. But I thought I'll just ramble a little bit about that as it has been a big chunk of my life. Well, I was not always into makeup, and how it started was that back in Sweden, I studied fashion. So when I came to London, I really wanted to work with fashion, and this is what I did. I was working for a flagship store named Whistles. And then after that, I was doing visual merchandising for H&M, which I've done in Sweden as well. And H&M, it sounds a little bit crazy, but I ended up being in Knightsbridge and I did the visual merchandising so I wasn't doing the visual merchandising like in general, but I was doing it for the what's it called, accessory department. So I was doing mainly that, and after that, I think I went back to Sweden for a while. And when I came back, I'm trying to remember what was it that I did when I came back. I remember now. I started working for department store Liberty. And if you've ever been to London, you know what Liberty is. And it is a pretty impressive little department shop or store, whatever you want to call it. So the building is actually made out of two battleships. So everything inside is made out of wood. And it is probably, I personally think, one of the most beautiful like shops I've been in, and because it's so old, I kind of really like that style, and it has a lot of history. Yeah, and it looks really cool. So if you go into London, you have to go and have a look. Although, unless you're extremely rich, it might be difficult to buy anything there, maybe a coffee or some sweets. Or I guess they have makeup there too. So that is rather expensive, but it is a really nice place. So yeah, I was working in the lingerie department actually, and I learned a lot about lingerie, and it was like every different kind of thing. Yeah, I don't really remember how long time I was there. I was there for like maybe 2 years or so, but during that time, because everything became a little bit same old, same old. So I studied fashion and then going to lingerie. It wasn't really, I mean, it's never the same thing of being in a shop and then making stuff. But I met really interesting people there, obviously. Had some, interesting encounters with some celebrities and stuff. So, yeah, it was really interesting in general. But yeah, I got a little bit bored. I was doing some merchandising and I was helping the buyers as well for a while, and it was all fun. But yeah, I think it was just not creative enough for me. And I was friends with the girls downstairs in the makeup department, and they're like, "So why don't you just like do makeup instead? Because it's way more creative." And I thought, "Oh, Mayo, that sounds kind of like a good idea." So I did a makeup course that cost me shit ton of money, which it normally does. It was in Soho. It was fun. I really loved it. I think, if I had like that shit ton of money, right, I would have done like a course that was much longer. Uh, you kind of have to do hair as well when you're doing makeup. So you have hair and makeup, but I don't believe that that's the way. If you're really good at makeup, you're good at that. If you're good at hair, you're good at hair. But it kind of depends what you want to do. If you want to do like bridal things, then yeah, it's very good to know the hair as well. But if you just want to do makeup for fashion shows and shoots and just general maybe runways and things like that, then then makeup is your thing. So yeah, I've done that, and after that, what did I do? Oh yeah, so I met someone that said, look, you can work in our little shop as a freelancer, and I was basically working in the little Pixie shop off of Carnaby Street, which is really close to Liberty. And it was actually quite nice because most of the time I was working all by myself, and I quite like that. And I know a lot of people would probably not like that, but I quite liked being in the shop by myself. And you're never really by yourself. You also had customers coming in. So that was quite nice. They had skincare and makeup and such. And then they needed someone to kind of, because they had little stalls, no, not stalls, what is it called, counters in Boots, and they needed someone to kind of go to the different booths in London, and not only London, actually outside London, so a few places outside as well, and do a little bit of training and stuff like that. Just check so everything was in order. So I did that when I was freelancing. I also did it for some other brands. Did a little bit of training. Also did some random photo shoots and some random like catwalk things. But yeah, it was on a freelance basis, but it was during the time when I was feeling really sick and I did not know why I was sick. So many times I was just really, really tired. So I think my performance was not the best. Even though I was excited, I probably came off as not very excited because I was just so tired all the time. So yeah, I was doing that for a while, and then I met a girl that was working for Stila, and she was kind of like, they're opening a big Stila counter in Harbour Nichols. Like, why don't you apply? So I did that, and I opened the counter with her, and I ended up being in Harbour Nichols, which was interesting in itself because, I mean, absolutely fabulous, right? Yeah, so I ended up there, and it was pretty like it was slightly stressful because it was, it comes to the whole thing of like having like floor managers. I mean, I was still used to it since Liberty, but it was just slightly different. It was a little bit more, it was not as laid back. And I think in every single like department shop, you always, when you are on like the makeup and fragrance departments, it is a little bit more disciplined there. Like, I don't know why that's the case, but it's like those departments always have it worst. So I kind of like, I think because I was getting so tired as well, I really didn't really want to freelance. And during this time as well, I had a YouTube channel and I was doing makeup, I've taken it all down because I just, it was just not relevant anymore. But yeah, I was too tired to like keep up with everything. And I thought if I just get just a normal job, maybe I can just relax a little bit because I just didn't really understand why I was so tired. And so I got that job. It was nice. I was there for a little bit less than a year. I think, and it was during that time I kind of like got my diagnosis of having this thing in my stomach and stuff. So I kind of understood why I was tired. But I was talking to a lot of people around there, and I really liked YSL. And I was good friends with the people on the YSL counter, and they're like, "Oh, they're looking for someone in Harrods. Why don't you apply?" So I did that. And I thought to myself, like, let me do it just for fun because it's Harrods. There's no way Harrods is going to hire me because, I'm not the Harrods kind of looking person. But somehow they approved me. Somehow the floor managers approved me. So I was just, going with the flow at this point, and I thought, like, okay, right, I'm now in Harrods, and Harrods is it was way stricter back in the day. Harrods is like a completely different ball game than like the other shops. And I've been in Harrods, I think, for like 3 years. And there it was like, you have to wear a uniform. And I didn't really like wearing trousers. And the uniform was like trousers, blazer, black t-shirt. You have to wear your hair up, or you have to kind of like wear it very neat. You have to wear like at least 5 products of makeup on your face. You have to wear heels. You have to paint your nails and they have to look beautiful. If you have pierced ears, you have to wear earrings, but the earrings can't be too big. If you have rings, you are not allowed to really wear rings unless it's like a wedding ring. And what else? Yeah, very like, it's just very, you have to like stand in a certain way and smile a certain way, and everything is just very like, yeah, it was very disciplined. And in the morning before they open, the floor managers kind of walk around, look at everyone, and if they find anyone with like no earrings, or they don't like the way your hair look, or something is wrong, they will point at you and they're like, you go and change or you go home. And yeah, it has happened, like people were sent home sometimes. I remember this really sad time when this girl, so we used to have a lot of agency people that did fragrance. And when you have like promotions, when they launch in new fragrances or anything like that, it's normally they hire agency workers, and these girls are very beautiful and all of that. And I don't remember what brand it was, but I remember they had these like white dresses they had to wear. And obviously, I think they only had a certain amount of different sizes. And this one girl, she like, her dress was like very tight on her, so it didn't really fit her. But obviously, she was working, she was wearing it anyway, and she was told off by one of the floor managers that, what is this? Like, do you have an address? Like, no, okay, can you stand behind the counter? So she was like hiding half of her body. And obviously, that's not a nice thing to hear. So she did that. But after a while, I don't know if it was the same person or another person came to her and said like, no, you can't look like this. You just don't fit this, like this, your body is way too big for your dress, basically. So they sent her home, and yeah, she was really upset. And just things like that happened quite often. And yeah, I have never been sent home, but I have been told off because like I had some hair sticking out, or like my lipstick wasn't put on properly. It was silly things like that. But I think after a while you get used to it and you just like go with the flow. And yeah, I remember the first week or so, because everything looked so pristine and so perfect there. And I remember when I opened the like makeup brush drawer, I was in shock. I was in absolute shock. It was so dirty. And I've been freelancing for a long time. I mean, not a long time, but I was freelancing before. And I went to school, so I'm kind of like, this is not okay. Like, hygiene is literally like number one. So yeah, that was my thing. I just always had to clean those brushes because I could not stand it. I couldn't stand the fact that we didn't get our own brushes. And I was asking for that, but it was just weird like that. I just don't understand. Back in the day, anyway, it was. I know that they changed things now, but it was just really annoying. I hated it. I hated just using like brushes that we had there. But hey, I made it work. The more I said, the more they were just like, Emily, you're just so funny. Why are you so weird? As per usual. But yeah, it was during that time. I had my surgery as well, so I was away for a little while, and I came back and all of that. And yeah, I think after a while, it was really getting to me. I was in the fragrance hall a lot as well, because I just at the end wanted to get away from it all. I think it became so much more like hard sell, and I really don't like just randomly selling products and like upselling. Like, I like to give people what they need and what they're looking for, and maybe like suggest things. I'm not like like this person is looking for, I don't know, I'm looking for lipsticks. Like, oh, but have you tried our foundation? Like it really annoys me sometimes, but hey. So I was in a fragrance room for quite a while. And oh, mind you, they also do like this whole commission thing. So everyone was stealing each other's sales and all that rubbish. It was horrendous. Anyway, I didn't pay too much attention because I just couldn't handle the drama sometimes, really. But yeah, I think after a while, I was just like, what am I doing here? Like, I wanted to work with makeup because I wanted to be creative. And now I'm here just listening to orders, basically. I'm just following orders, what to wear, what to say, how to look, this and that. It was brainwash. It really was. And I really felt like, outside work, this is why you kind of become, you go out, you go like to a pub or something, and you just like talk to people, and you come home like, it becomes like, yeah, it's like a pop culture is great and everything, but it's not good when you're like really try to get away because you're working long days and you're just so brainwashed at work, and then you meet your friends for a few drinks, and then you go home, and then you back working again. I mean, luckily I had some lovely flatmates during that time. They were great and they really made things much better. But it just like, it feels like a blur somehow, because it was just like you try to forget the boredom or like the things that were at work, but at the same time, it wasn't like it's an experience. And I guess like if you can handle, if selling is what you like doing, then is great. But for me, it was too much. So I did ask if I could maybe get moved because I really felt that Harrods was just getting too much for me. I couldn't. I think like I was there long enough, and I was just like, I just couldn't handle it. So they had a position as a account manager. So counter manager in Fennec, which is a little bit smaller, Bond Street. And so I moved there and I was managing this counter for about a year. And oh my lord, it was the most manual thing I ever done in my life. And the audacity of floor managers was mental. It was, I mean, I did really well. The girls were great. I managed two girls and they were amazing. And it was a great time. We did really well. I had a good relationship with the buyers. So, because everything was manual, I kind of told them what I wanted and what I needed. And I just went for it because, like, why not? And we did that. The floor managers, most of them were a nightmare. I think a lot of people that work in these kind of roles, they just do that because they want to be somebody, which is just so silly. I find that just so lame, to be honest. But the security guys that were at the door and stuff, they were really nice and funny. So they kind of like made the day a little bit better. And I was there for about a year or so until I was just like, I just can't work in the shop anymore because this is not being creative. It was just like the creativity was just sucked out of me. And I was just like, I bloody hate makeup. I just don't want to do this anymore. So I didn't apply for other jobs actually. It was just a random thing. Another job, like a recruiter contacted me and I was reading the description and I was like, this is an office job, but it was in the area where I was living. I was living in Camden Town and the job was in Camden Town. So I was like, hold on, wait a minute. You're telling me I can work Monday to Friday and I can walk to work living in London. I was like, this is too good to be true. I have to go. So I had my few interviews for that and I got that job. And it's nothing crazy, nothing special. It's just a normal office job. So I got that. And this is how I just like stopped doing makeup altogether. Obviously for the shows and stuff like that, I still really enjoyed, putting on makeup and doing all that stuff. But it really kind of like just disintegrated. Like the creativity was just not there anymore. And and I do like still to this day, I do still follow like certain brands and I do like buying certain makeup if I like it. But it's not the same and I'm older now as well and my skin is just not as good as it used to, so it's not as cool anymore. And I I still find it really fascinating and interesting. But also because I've been trying to get rid of as much, I guess, horrible ingredients as much as possible. I kind of realized how much of like poison I've been putting on my face without even thinking about it. Because you think like, oh, makeup or this and that, it's fine because you're putting it on your face and on your skin. Looking into it, it's not that great at all. And I think I'm quite lucky that my skin has always been sensitive. So I've been very careful of what kind of skincare I've been using. Because let me tell you, if you look at like really expensive skincare, if you go to like YSL or Dior or Lancome and all of these, skincare might be great. But these companies are, they kind of like making makeup. So skincare is going to be suitable mainly for the makeup. And it has so many poisonous things in it. So I personally wouldn't recommend. But I mean, obviously, we women will always be women, and I do understand. I I'm not gonna lie, I do use makeup and I like it, but I'm very uh, vigilant, and I use specific brands, and I'm just very picky. And if I wear something because I think it's pretty, then at least I'm aware, you know, at least I'm aware. And also, washing your face and using different skincare, at least have a barrier between, your makeup and your skin. Uh, this is why I like tallow, because obviously it's just tallow is tallow, but it kind of builds a barrier as well between all these things. So yeah, I guess everything has its place, and yeah, I do think makeup is great. It's fun, but when it becomes a job, I think it just becomes very soul destroying, maybe. And yeah, um, there are like there are a few brands that I really enjoy, and I know that not every woman is into makeup either. But for me, it was a creative outlet, which I don't find creative in the same kind of way anymore. But I'm very grateful for the knowledge that I have. I feel I really enjoy like putting on makeup or knowing how to do your makeup to make it look very natural and to kind of like make your face look like you, but better. And this is something that I always really enjoyed. And then obviously you can do other things, but also during the time I was working, this whole Kim Kardashian thing popped up, right? And everybody wanted to look like Kim Kardashian. And I was laughed at because the girl I was working with, she looked at me and she was like, don't you think that Kim Kardashian has beautiful cheeks? Or she said something about her. And I was like, who? She was like, oh my God, you don't know who she is? And then she took out this magazine with her face on it. And I was like, no, I don't know who she is. And that's basically that's me in a nutshell. I just did not know who that was. So she kind of filled me in, and then I noticed like women came to the counter like, oh, I want to look like Kim Kardashian. I'm just like, well, Kim Kardashian specifically at the time, She was using like drag queen makeup basically. She was contouring her face like a drag queen. I'm just like, but you're a woman. You don't really need to contour like like feminine features on your feminine face. This doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, I didn't really like that look. I just quite like, you know, it can be a little bit bold, but I like when skin looks like skin. I really don't like when it's like foundation, powder, bronzer, orange, oompa loompa. Like, I never like that stuff. And yeah, so I didn't really fit in, I guess. Maybe a little bit, but not, I didn't really fit in. But I met some really fun and amazing people throughout their time, for sure. And it has been very interesting, and I did learn a lot, and I did have a lot of fun. I have to say, like, people that work on counters, they have great sense of humor. They can be a bit catty and dramatic, okay? Yes, sure, but they have great sense of humor. And it's like, because this is kind of what you do. You have to have great sense of humor if you're just standing there staring at each other all day. And yeah, it's a little bit of like a comedy show sometimes. And yeah, it's been great fun, but I'm very happy not to be standing and doing that anymore. I think, yeah, I'm very grateful that I ended up being in places like Harrods and Liberty and Havenix and stuff. Yeah, but at the same time, I think I'd rather be on the other side. I'd rather be like uh, the customer than working there. It's not really the same. And, people that work there, that's their job. They're not like, if you like, I know a lot of people feel intimidated by going to places like that. And so did I before, but I don't anymore because I used to work in places like that. And I'm just like, well, the people that work here, they are as much human as you are. So you don't have to be intimidated. You know, it's all right. You just go in, enjoy yourself, and that's it, really. There's nothing more to it. Right. I think I've been talking enough about makeup. I mean, it's not that interesting, really, but I thought it would be interesting to kind of like a little bit of an inside scoop of how it was working in places like that, which you can't really do in any other cities but London. So I thought that might be interesting to some of you. Anyway, I'll leave you with that and wish you a good night or a good day, and I speak to you soon.